بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدي وحبيبي ونور قلبي، طب القلوب ودوائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها، أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. قال أمير المؤمنين علي عليه أفضل الصلاة والسلام: نحمده على ما كان ونستعينه من أمرنا على ما يكون، ونسأله المعافاة في الأديان كما نسأله المعافاة في الأبدان. عباد الله، أوصيكم بالرفض لهذه الدنيا التاركة لكم وإن لم تحبوا تركها، والمبلية لأجسامكم وإن كنتم تحبون تجديدها، فإنما مثلكم ومثلها كسفر سلكوا سبيلا فكأنهم قد قطعوه، وأموا علما فكأنهم قد بلغوه. وصدق أمير المؤمنين علي عليه السلام. صل على محمد. In continuation of our khutbah 98, which we started last week, we talk about 3 points in the beginning of this khutbah. The first point of this khutbah that Imam Ali started was praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we mentioned the importance of praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Imam Ali alayhi salam talked also about isti'ana, which means depending on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in everything. We cannot do anything without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we talk about that. The third point we also mentioned or talk about was al-mu'afata fil din, safety in our religion. That is also another important point that we mentioned, and we stress the importance of this part of the khutbah. And we mentioned also, just to refresh the memories, we mentioned that it is very important, one, to always remember to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect your deen. We normally ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be healthy. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us our sustenance. But one thing we almost forget is our deen, our religion, dying mu'min, staying on your path. Because just because I was born and raised a Muslim doesn't mean I have to die a Muslim. Just because I was born to be on the right path, I will stay on the right path till the end. And that is why we read this dua: رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا. Oh Allah, do not divert our heart from the right path after you already kept us on the right path. Not only that, that is why in the salat every day we say اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Continuously we asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are some ahadith tells us a person can wake up in the morning mu'min and die in the evening kafir. There is possibility a person can wake up also in the morning kafir and circumstances changes that he or she dies a mu'min. It happens. And you can see that also in the life of Islam. When you go to the history, there are people like that. Before our Prophet and after our Prophet. All of this happened. When you go back to the Quran, when Quran talk about Samiri is one of the examples. Wasn't he a believer from the people of Musa alayhi salam? But how did he die? He died a kafir. Now you come to also even at the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Wasn't some of them were in the other group like Hurr ibn Yazid al-Rayahi? And then what happened at the end? He died a mu'min. So there's possibility. So Imam Ali alayhi salam, he mentioned, he said, وَنَسْأَلُهُ الْمُعَافَاةَ فِي الْأَدْيَانِ كَمَا نَسْأَلُهُ الْمُعَافَاةَ فِي الْأَبْدَانِ. He said, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safety in our religion and faith as the same way we ask Allah safety in our body. Now I gave an example last week. And Hajjat al-Wada', a man who was with Rasulullah, he went and prayed, he went and did the salah, they did the hajj, they did everything. But in Hajjat al-Wada', he died a kafir called Nu'man al-Fihri. When Rasulullah was sent and received the revelation, Ya ayyuha ar-Rasul balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik. The Prophet did exactly that. After everything, he came to the Prophet and he denied everything. And then he turned and said to the Prophet, In kana hadha min Allah, fa Allahumma anzil alayya hijaratan min as-sama. He asked Allah, Ya Allah, if this is really true, that you told Rasulullah to put his son-in-law upon us to be a leader, then Ya Allah, I ask you to send a rock upon me from the heaven. And tafsir al-Quran is there. That also Mufassirin mentioned, it's a فَمَا رَفَعَ رِجْلَهُ, didn't even lift his foot. حَتَّى أَتَاهُ, and then a rock came from the sky and struck him and died instantly. If 30 minutes before the incident, an hour before incident, who could have predicted this man will die kafir? Who could have been? He came from Hajj with Rasulullah. One incident, and Quran calls him kafir. سَأَلَ سَائِلٌ بِعَذَابٍ وَاقِعٍ لِلْكَافِرِينَ لَيْسَ لَهُ دَافِعٍ. Quran calls him kafir. That is why it's very important. And Quran comes to emphasize this. In Surah Al Imran, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu taqullah haqqa tuqah wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. Never allowed to die unless you are a Muslim. That is the importance of the third part of the khutbah. Now, after this, all this, Imam Ali alayhi salam continue. Now Imam Ali wants to give his advice. What is the advice? He said, Ibadallah. He calling the servant of Allah. He said, Ya Ibadallah, usikum بالرفض لهذه الدنيا التاركة لكم وإن لم تحبوا تركها. The first advice Imam Ali gives to all of us. He said, Ibadallah, oh you the servant of Allah. And look at the beauty name that Imam Ali is calling. Ibadallah, oh the servant of Allah. Why this is Ibadallah? So here we have what Imam Hussein alayhi salam also gave in the khutbah that he gave. He says, An-nasu abidud dunya. There is abid ad-dunya, the slaves of this world. There is abidul mal, the slaves of money. There is slaves of power. There is slaves of everything. But here Imam Ali was referring to those he was addressing, Ibadullah, the servant of Allah. Because here you have to know your audience. And this is one of the most important lessons we can learn from the Quran. You see, Quran is so particular when it comes to this. When you go to the Quran, you see Quran sometimes comes to call Ya ayyuhan nas. Sometimes Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu. Sometimes Ya ayyuhal kafirun. Every one of these call comes to address something important. But whatever the call is, there's difference between the call and the message. Which means, If you look at the Quran, anytime you see Ya Ayyuhan Nas, most of the time, you see the message after it is more something about worldly things. Something we people all having in common. For example, Ya Ayyuhan Nas, Inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha. For you people, we created you from a male and a female. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ. It's something that we all agreed on. It's not about Jannah, it's not about hellfire, because not all human being believes in the Jannah and Nar. So when the general call comes, it talks about general things too. But when you look at the call, if the call comes, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, then the address, whatever Allah wants to address, is different. You don't see Allah say, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, and then he talks about other things like worldly materials. Whenever Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu comes, it addresses something that has to do with faith. Something that has to do with responsibility in your Islamic responsibility. For example, salat. For example, fasting. That's why when you go, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, kutiba alaykum as-siyam. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, taqullah. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, khudhu zinatakum. Everything that Ya ayyuhalladhina comes, when it comes, everything that follows is about something that has to do with faith, because the call is the people of faith. Now when you look at the ayah which comes, Ya ayyuhalladhina kafaru, or Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun, you see it's always something that has to do with them and their faith too. That is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is divided. Now here Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he say Ibadallah, he's referring to those who already believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The address is for people of faith already. And what is he saying? He says, Usikum, I advise you. And this advice go to whom? Ibadallah. What is advice? He says, بِالرَّفْضِ لِهَذِهِ الدُّنْيَا. Keep away from this world. What does it mean? الرَّفْضُ لِهَذِهِ الدُّنْيا. What does it mean? Let's analyze here, brothers and sisters. Because sometimes when we talk about Imam or Quran, always try to discourage us from this world. What does it mean? Because some people do ask, they say, okay, when Quran and Islam tells us don't worry about this dunya, don't chase this dunya, don't take this from dunya. Okay, who created dunya, by the way? Allah. Okay, why would he create something and tell us not go after it? If it's bad, why did he create it? If it's good, why did he tell us not to go after it? Now the answer is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not tell us not to go after dunya. No. Islam does not say do not have the better of this world. No. When you go to the Quran, what do we say? Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana. In the Quran. And when you go to the surah in the Quran, the amazing, the way the dua comes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala divided people into two. He said, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَمَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ. That's the first part. Some people, they ask Allah about this dunya and they completely forget about the akhirah. Then he said, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَقُولُ. And among the people who said, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً. Then Allah says, some of them also, when they ask the good of this world and the good of hereafter. And Quran says, and that is the best. Which means, do not just focus on akhirah and forget the dunya. Dunya is also about something, is something important to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala too. Another ayah in the Quran about the importance of dunya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Do not forget your portion from this world, from the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another ayah about this dunya, where Quran says, كُلْ مَنْ حَرَّمَ زِينَةَ اللَّهِ الَّذِي أَخْرَجَ لِعِبَادِهِ قُلْ هِيَ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Who forbade those blessings that Allah has created for His servants? قُلْ هِيَ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. So I tell them, those blessings is meant for the believers. خالصة منه يوم القيامة, which will be considered pure يوم القيامة, on the day of judgment. So dunya is not something, but now this is from the Quran. You go to the hadith. Hadith also tells us, it says, الدنيا مزرعة الآخرة, that this dunya is the place you plant your akhirah. You cannot get to the akhirah if you don't want to, if you haven't been to dunya. Have you ever seen anybody to build akhirah without being in dunya? Never. So dunya is also important. But the message that Imam Ali and the Quran, always when you go, Quran says, Alhaakum al-takathur, dunya, when Quran describes it, إنما الدنيا متاع الغرور, متاع قليل. What does it mean when Quran says all of these? Plus Imam Ali says, أوصيكم بالرفض لهذه الدنيا. I urge you to keep away from this dunya. What does it mean? What they mean is not to go and take the blessings of this dunya. What they mean is, do not, two things, brothers. Number one, what they mean and the Quran means is, do not make this dunya to be your priority to the point where you forget your akhirah. It's important, this dunya, no doubt about it. But it doesn't take the preference upon the akhirah. بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير. Quran says, yes, you should love this dunya. You should work hard for it. You go to the hadith of Imam Ali, he says, اعمل دنياك كأنك تعيش أبدا. So work hard for this dunya as if you're going to live forever. Encouraging you to work hard. It's good. But what it is that we should not let this dunya to take the preference to the point where I forget the akhirah. Like the akhirah doesn't exist. That is one. Number two is that do not chase this world to the point where you become enslaved of this world. Now, if I can be in this world, take the advantage of this world, and at the same time, I'm not enslaved of this world. One. Two, I don't take the preference of this world over the akhirah, then I am in good shape. You can go after as much as you want. Otherwise, Sulaiman have gotten the best of this world. Wasn't he? Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam. Everything. He asked Allah, Rabbi habli mulkan la yanbaghi li ahad. Allah give me the kingdom. And Allah gave him everything you can think. But when you look, one thing about Sulaiman was that with all that kingdom, with all that power, wealth, everything, never took him one bit away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Never. One time, Sulaiman alayhi salam left those things that he owned to enslave him. No, he always used those opportunities to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what the Quran wants us to understand. You can have the world, but provided that the world doesn't control you, you're good shape. And that is the message of Imam Ali. أوصيكم بالرفض لهذه الدنيا. He said, I urge you and advise you to always keep away from this dunya. Don't let this dunya lead you. Why? Imam Ali mentioned, he says, التاركة لكم. Because Imam Ali said, because this world, one thing you have to understand, it will leave you for sure. Even if you choose not to live it. No matter how much longer you live, at the end of the day, it's going to leave you. If you don't leave the dunya is going to leave you. Because the Quran mentioned, if your life is so long, if you live a longer life, to the point, at the end of the world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when we blow the horn, what happened to the world? The world comes to an end. It's going to finish. It's going to come to an end. Whether we like it or not, this world was not created to live to be forever. That's why Imam Ali alayhi salam said, At-tarikatu lakum. It's going to leave you. وَإِن لَمْ تُحِبُّوا تَرْكَهَا. Even if you do not like to live it, it's going to leave you. No, brothers, really, If you look at our life, you can see that some of what Imam Ali is saying. How does this dunya leave us? Whether you like it or not, you see changes in your life. You know, we were growing up. You have a sharp eyes, mashallah. Smallest writing, you can read it. Something that is written, you don't need eyeglasses. And then someday comes, you have to put your eyeglasses to see it. Don't you think the world is trying to leave you now? When you look at yourself and you look at that circumstances, that is the message. Things that is very common for you in your life you used to do. Now a time comes you cannot do it. That's the world is leaving you. Not only that, when Imam Ali says, at-tarikata lakum, it definitely will leave you at some point. Even if you love and you're attached to it. And Quran mentioned, no human being ever came to this world and lived and never left this world. Never. You know, look in Dua Nudba. When we read it, there is a part that it reminds us, where are some of the people who lived on this planet that we heard about them? Some of them were religious, prophets, kings, but today they're all history. Some people, they were tyrant, powerful people. They ruled, they did injustice. But where are they? Today they're all history. If this happened to them, it's going to happen to us. And Imam Ali alayhi salam says, at-tarikata lakum wa illam tuhibbu tarkaha. One of the things you have to do is, even if you want to live, it's not going to let you. There were people who loved to live here in this world, but this world didn't let them. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he didn't stop there. Then he says, at-tarikata lakum wa in lam tuhibbu tarkaha wal mubliyatu li ajsamikum. He said, not only that, this world, what it does, al-ibla, it takes this body away from you in different shape and different kind. Where Imam Ali alayhi salam, al-mubliyatu li ajsadikum, which also makes your body to grow old. You know, whether we like it or not, you know, you can protect your body as much as you want, but at some point you see the body changes itself automatically. You don't have to do anything. The gray hair will come in whether you like it or not. Not only that, the body goes through changes whether you like it or not. And this is done by the world, this dunya. As day and night goes and rotates, it happens. And you see those changes automatically. Al-mubliyatu li ajsamikum. Your body have to go through changes. From day one, the moment we arrive in this world, you see the body changes from being a baby, from going to toddler, from going to teenager, and then you come to be a young man or young woman, and then you come older person, and that's what the routine is. Nobody can change it. Even if you want to change it, you cannot. That is what the body is created for. And Imam Ali said, al-mubliyat li ajsadikum. And then he says, wa in kuntum tuhibbuna tajdidaha. Even if you want to renew it, like mashallah, sometimes what we call these new surgeries that is happening. Mashallah, I want to go change my face and get the wrinkles away. Yes, you can, alhamdulillah. But it's not going to change that much, trust me. You can spend a lot of money to go these surgeries and pay them big money. Yes, it might help another 5 years, another 10 years, another 20 years, let's say 30 years. But eventually, it's going to catch up with you. It's never going to change. It might change a little, but not that much. Because the body in this world is created to go through that changes. And that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah At-Teen. It said, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. Allah said, that's how we created it. He said, we created this world, human being, in the best shape. And then we chose him to go رَدَدْنَاهُ. Return him to the lowest level, which is the way he started. In one ayah, Allah explained, He said, وَهُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَكُم مِّن ضَعْفٍ ثُمَّ مِن بَعْضِ ضَعْفٍ قُوَّةٍ ثُمَّ مِن بَعْضِ قُوَّةٍ ضَعْفًا وَشَيْبًا. He said, we created you from weakness, and then from after weakness, we gave you power. Where you become teenager, you become young man or young woman, and you become stronger, you do things. Then after that, Allah said, we created you to become weaker and become also to go through an elderly age. Allah said, we created that. Nobody can change that. And Allah said in Surah Yasin also, وَمَن نُعَمِّرْهُ نُنَكِّسُهُ فِي الْخَلْقِ. So whomever we gave long life, Allah said, we're going to take so much from the body. The eyes, the ears, the legs, everything. That is part of what Imam Ali is saying. Imam Ali alayhi salam didn't stop there. Then he continued to say, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ تُجْدِينَ تَجْدِيدَهَا فَإِنَّمَا مَثَلُكُمْ وَمَثَلُهَا كَسَفَرٍ سَلَكُوا سَبِيلًا فَكَأَنَّهُمْ قَدْ قَطَعُوهُ. Imam Ali alayhi salam said the example of people like us on this planet is like a trip. And really it's a trip. When you go to the Quran describes this life as a trip. When you live a life, it's a trip. And we are here just like a rest area. But the journey continues with us. We didn't start here, and we are not going to end here. That's why we say, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We return to Him. We started from Him, and we now at this point, and we have to go back to Him again. It's a trip. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in so many places, He mentioned this life as a life or as a trip, as a journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, كَسَفَرٍ, this life that we live in is like a trip. سَلَكُوا سَبِيلًا, they took a path to that trip that they were going to. فَكَأَنَّهُمْ قَدْ قَطَعُوهُ, as if, he says that your example is as an example is like a traveler who travels some distance, and then as though they travel quickly, or they aim at a sign and reach at it once. Imam Ali alayhi salam, our example is like somebody who has an aim. I'm going to one destination, and as we go, as we take the time to cut the journey, and then at some point I have to reach my journey. Which means where I started is not the end. I have an aim, I have the goal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create us for this world. Allah created us, the aim is akhirah. And this world is as distance as through the travel that we're going through. And it's not going to stop and end here. And that is what Imam Ali alayhi salam is reminding us. Means always remember that you are in the journey. You are traveling. And we mentioned this several times. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us. And from day one in Alam al-Dhar, Allah created that every human being have to go through stages. Like when a person is traveling to Florida. As you travel through Florida from this part of the world country, you have to go through different states. If you live in Maryland and you want to go to Florida, you have to go through a first state, which is Virginia. Then after you leave Virginia, you go to another state called North Carolina. Then from North Carolina to South Carolina. Then from South Carolina to Georgia. And then after Georgia, you get to Florida. You have to go through different states. The same thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When He created us, He created us to go through different states. The first one that we start is Alam al-Dhar. Then from Alam al-Dhar, you go to Alam al-Aslab. Then Alam al-Arham. Then Alam al-Shahada. Then Alam al-Barzakh. Then Alam al-Qiyam. Whether we like it or not. That is the journey Imam Ali is reminding us. So it's the journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he then continues, says, سَلَكُوا سَبِيلًا فَكَأَنَّهُمْ قَطَعُوهُ وَأَمُّوا عَلَمًا كَأَنَّهُمْ قَدْ بَلَغُوهُ وَكَمْ عَسَى الْمُجْرِي إِلَى الْغَايَةِ أَنْ يَجْرِيَ إِلَيْهَا حَتَّى يَبْلُغَهَا. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he said, how many of you have aims and dreams and want to reach it. And sometimes you might be able to reach it, and sometimes you might not be able to. Imam Ali alayhi salam, the bottom line from this khutbah, this part of the khutbah, Imam Ali alayhi salam wants us to understand two things. The first one is the reason why he tells us that do not get attached to this world. Imam Ali wants to tell us that no matter how much you get attached to it, at some point you're going to leave it. So there is no point of getting attached to it. That is the bottom line. No matter how much I said, I want, I love, I want to sacrifice, this world is not something to always keep yourself with it. That is one. And number two, to remember that there is aim in this journey. Don't get distracted from the aim that you were created for. That aim is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We were put in this world to aim of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that should be the goal. Whatever we do or act or say, let Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be the aim and the goal. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.